Hey, it's Soul. And around this time, I would do a cheesy little holiday-themed video to celebrate the year that's coming to a close. But I'm not going to do that this time. No jokes, nothing like that. But those videos are usually filled with kind of whimsy and mocking festiveness, and this year it just doesn't feel right. I mean, not to say that we should be depressed or gloomy, but I think coming from me, I feel more just relieved that we made it to the end. So I scratched that idea. But anyway, boop. Hey, it's Soul. This is Warcraft Weekly, and let's give thanks to everyone, as in all of you, and Blizzard, and our Twitch subscribers, and patrons, including Toralite. Thanks for being awesome. Today's weekly is going to be shorter, given the holiday, but, well, here's some news. A bunch of stuff is on sale over at the Blizzard shop, from boosts to pets and mounts and bundles. If you're interested, your best bet is to open up the in-game shop and take a look for yourself. For me, the Wolfpack bundle, haha, what a good name. It was adjusted for pets that I already owned, meaning that the Vulpine mount and the Fox pet cost less than $10, which is not a bad deal for the collectors who were willing to wait. From the creator of popular add-on Opie comes Venture Plan, the latest Shadowlands add-on to try and help make running adventures from the mission table easier. A link to the add-on is in the description. I tested it, and I can say with confidence that it is safe to download. I could also say that it's just as useful as Covenant mission success estimates, an add-on that I featured a little while back, and by useful, I mean it does very little. It gives you too much information on the front and not enough on the back, but it does factor in your positioning and many, but not all, abilities used. The reality is that this add-on relies on us also reporting back so that the author can make additions and tweaks as we go along. The reason why I'm bringing this up at all here is to remind you folks who are running these missions in order to get cool stuff of this one tip, which is to just focus on leveling and advancing your adventure campaign progress. That's it. You'll eventually get everything, and failing missions in the meantime is just a waste of time and anima. I say this with great confidence, but at the maximum mission level, which is I think 60, it's going to be balanced against max level followers too. So feel free to download these add-ons because they've jumped in early, but the secret to making an add-on like this work is to have max level followers that will be tested and proven to work on a particular mission every single time, because that's just how it works. Moving on, the race to World First is over, with US Guild Limit taking the #1 spot one day after their reset, and as much as any of the fans want to say otherwise, second place Guild Echo did acknowledge the victory over on their Twitter, so any technicality that you try to measure won't change that they conceded. But let's talk about that anyway, because sure, why not? Two major controversies came out of this season's race. One is really old news, that there's this time gap between the US and EU regions, and the fact that US realms technically get access to their raid resets along with a re-clear before EU realms do. The other controversy is not nearly as old, but it's got to do with how much or how little top guilds are streaming their progression. First, there was Limit not streaming while scoring a Mythic Council kill, which is like, whoops. And then there was Echo not streaming their early Denathrius progression at all because, I'll just play this clip.
I have some unfortunate news for some of you. Due to the time that NA is getting their reset soon, us showing the strategy, it's going to give them a huge advantage. So we're going to do some Denathrius progress off stream without giving too much away to Limit. We're obviously going to be back again. But streaming it at this time would be giving them a huge advantage. So I will have to turn off the stream. That is the decision of the team.
I'm not going to take a side because sides are stupid, but I'm going to reiterate my response to the demand from some fans who want more fairness in the race by first asking this. Do they know what they're really asking for? Do they think they do when they don't? And why ask Blizzard to step in when the community of top players has the capability to do it themselves? The popular rallying cry over the past few days has been global release. In short, it is to launch the season at the same time in both regions, just like how Shadowlands launched worldwide at the same time. On top of that, you'd have resets that also take place at the same time, and that would be fair. Just kidding, that totally wouldn't be fair. I mean, one, there's the Asian regions, but then of course we're talking about everyone else, because for the sake of fairness, downtime will need to be globally aligned too, which could be prime time for one region and not the other. This sort of alignment doesn't just affect staff, whose hours would need to be permanently adjusted maybe, but it also sends the message to millions of players that their optimal playtime does not matter as much as a few dozen people who are participating in a 2 to 3 week long community event that Blizzard has never directly supported. Blizzard has rightly been hands off of this whole thing from the very beginning, but the only way fairness can be ensured is for Blizzard to manage the entire thing, turning it from a community-built event into a Blizzard-run festival of gaming. Every factor would need to be considered. That's going to mean pretty much flying entire teams over to a single location with enough computers, housing, safety protocols, thanks to COVID, and other logistics both on the teams and as well as Blizzard's. Everything in the race would need to be normalized, which would mean tournament servers that are separated from the rest of the community. Some would say that the race would feel too deterministic on RNG drops from previous bosses, so I guess item level would need to be locked too. No outside influences could be involved either, so there's going to be no voice comms outside of the team. Streams and casting would probably be managed by Blizzard as well. This would be insane, but for fairness, there probably would be no third-party add-ons like WeakAuras either. There would be a fixed start and end time, like a broadcast time, and there would be so much more to it. I know this all sounds ridiculous, because it is. It's unlikely to ever happen. I don't want it to happen, but without considering every little detail, spectators would put the legitimacy of the race in doubt, but it's just not worth it. If fairness was really worth it, you would first hear this from the heads of top organizations themselves, followed by action and regulation on their part. The community didn't need Blizzard to build the race to world first, and they don't need Blizzard to make it fair either. The top folks at Limit and Echo and elsewhere could come together and create a kind of race to world first league with its own rules and agreements like what I mentioned previously, but without Blizzard being involved. It just hasn't happened. And there's a certain charm about the race being a community thing. I mean, yeah, it's chaotic. It stresses the teams who have to get the gear and do splits and shell out millions of gold on consumables and gear, but it's something that the community still owns. Blizzard would rather keep it this way, or I guess it's better to say that they would rather say and do nothing, so it's pointless trying to point fingers at them. Top players own this race, and they can listen to their fans, or they can shut them down. My opinion? They don't care nearly as much as others think. Whatever the case though, the race to world first is over, and so is the year. Say it with me now. 2020 was a heck of a decade, and I think that most of us would rather bury it than do a whole recap as if it was nostalgic. Seriously, 2020 just sucked. It sucked big donkey dick. Notice at the beginning of this whole thing, people tried to treat this like a vacation at home, and all the rage was over Animal Crossing, enjoying our fellow neighbors' homes and pawning turnips, but by the end of the year, the top game was Among Us, where no one could be trusted and we were straight up killing each other. Real talk though, no bit of whimsy is going to make up for a year of one tragedy after another. The lives of everybody on the planet have been affected by one thing or another, and many of you might feel isolated. So I first want to say from the bottom of my heart that I am glad that you're here to share in the simple joys of, well, one, making it to the end of the year, and having the opportunity or the privilege maybe to let video games be an important part of your day. Maybe for some of you, it's been a lifeline in a world that's gone a little bit crazy. Like I said, I'm not going to do a recap of the year, but instead I'll just focus on what's most important, that we're at the end of it, and to feel thankful that at least where the world of Warcraft is concerned, it's ending on a pretty high note. There's something to enjoy in our little space here as we close the book on 2020, and then put it in a box and throw some weight on it and throw it into the sea, and then blow up the sea and then throw that into the sun. It's very fanboyish of me, it's very shill of me to say, but shame is a small casualty of 2020. I'm just happy that Shadowlands hasn't sucked. I know that we're not all in agreement there, but really, it could have been worse. I mean, look at how Cyberpunk 2077 on consoles is working out. A good number of CD Projekt Red fans have turned hater and they're just eating each other alive. Meanwhile, I'm looking down from Elysian Hold like, dang. Okay, let's complain about Fury Warriors. Shadowlands came through in a year where so many things have gone wrong, or have been mishandled, or have spiraled out of control. Setting aside the real quirks and issues, I've really got to hand it to Blizzard for coming through under the pressure of some jacked up working conditions and our expectations that, boy, this had better not be literally BFA 2.0, whatever that's supposed to mean. Shadowlands' release was handled well, and was the light at the end of the tunnel that we were looking for. Sooner or later, though, of course, the fog's gonna lift, and the honeymoon period will be over, at least for me. I can't speak for you, but for now, let's just try to enjoy the moment, and be thankful for what we have and who we have it with. 2021 is not the promise of a brighter future, but I'd rather look forward than to look back. So let's wrap it up, nice and easy, because I'm going to be back next week as usual to stream, so drop by and say hi. Don't forget to like the video because it helps truly, and consider subscribing for more of this and all things Warcraft. Please enjoy your celebrations, folks, and we will see you soon. Until then, stay safe, stay healthy, and stay breezy. Switch.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Guys. Yes. Fuck yes. Good
Oh, man.
job.